Bulgarian people, please sit down. So today I will talk about my contributor story. So I started in 2010 and I want to talk about what I did till then. So I'm Marko Heijnen, I'm a web developer at WordPress. I have still my own company called Code Kitchen. I was the ex-lead developer of GlotPress, so the translation tool WordPress uses. I contributed back to 14 releases. I'm one of the organizers of WordCamp Belgrade, and I do plugin development for like Shopify Edit Screen and Site Manager. So today I will talk about the trip I made since 2010 within WordPress. So it all started by this little fix. So during my school, when I did my bachelor, I was working, because well, school doesn't fill all the time, so I was working with WordPress and I was like playing around and played with the custom post types. And there were some issues I saw, and one of those I fixed. It was like fixing that you can attach media to a post, and you can only still select post and pages. So I edited with my PHP and CSS knowledge to make that you can also select all the custom post types you have. Till then, I didn't really do that much. So in 3.3 I did have some fixes, and in 3.4 I really started. So that for me was like a game changer. Like WordPress had their own focus groups, so you can say like they had this kind of groups and you could join one. So I joined XMRC group, and because there were still things missing, and together with Peter Westwood and Max Cutler, I started working on things like adding support for custom post types, like working on the scripts, so you can create them, you can update them, delete them, and work on that. And doing that, we improved a lot, especially one of the missing features like was featured image. You couldn't never select it through your mobile phone, even though that's basically one of the first things you do when you create a blog post. You always select featured image if your team has support for that. And I also started adding unit tests. So during that release, I did 33 props and commits because I had the commit for the unit test, so I had the ability to add that one. So I added quite a lot or break stuff that I had to fix. And during 3.4 I learned a lot, especially with doing unit tests, because that was never something we had to do. And especially with Peter Westwood and Max Cutler, like it was really cool to work on, especially if you had, like, sadly Max Cutler was never here, but if you talk with that guy about REST API, well, the whole evening is filled. Like you can talk 3-4 hours with the guy and you'll be amazed. And because of that work, I was like a recent rock star. Because I spent quite a lot of my own time towards it, and we did something really good, and me and Max Cutler were like I think that was the first release, or maybe the second one that they did that, and we were one of those people that got selected to be a recent rock star, like people who are new-ish to the WordPress and they did quite a cool effort, then you become a recent rock star. And WordPress 3.5, I did even more. So it was my best contribution, basically till this day, in my opinion. And it all started in San Francisco. Like there we had our hack day, what's now contributor day, and we worked on stuff. And you could select where you want to work on. And I decided to work on image manipulation. So the road to the success is basically work together with a lot of cool people, and generally I worked with Mike Schroeder on fixing it. And during the hack day, I also got Jeff Thompson included and some other people. And we talked, we went to like, well, okay, let's fix something with like media related. And when we started, like later on, we want to continue, like me and Mike want to continue, and well, we worked on it, and suddenly we were like the lead of this awesome feature, and we worked on it. And part of that feature was like adding better APIs for people, for developers to use, that they can manipulate their images. Basically what the guy before discussed, like, well, you have a lot of images added, and now you have a little bit more freedom to even remove them, delete them, change stuff. You can even not even use add image size. You can now just use the API directly in your own plugin if you say like, well, I have this slider, but why would I use add image size for old images if only less than 1% of my images are selected? You have then the full freedom to do your own implementation with the code of WordPress. The second goal of this part was have, instead of GD, also Imagic and ImageMagick support. With that, you have more options change images from, but also better quality. And in the last 2 releases, that also got even better improved. And we got a lot of really cool help from Kurt Payne that helped us on the unit test, because the stuff what we were working on is like a lot of implementation. And he started looking at like mocking objects, what was too far for me at least. So it was really good, cool help that someone was like helping us out with like unit tests instead of like the real code, but it's generally not easy to find. And we got a really good feedback from the community, and the first code we did was committed in October 1st. From there on, with the help of, especially from Nathan and from Ryan Bourne, we got a lot of cool help, especially from Ryan, because we tested it on our own end, but not like on an installation like WordPress.com that has a different logic in place. Like we were like, oh, that's broken? Like, okay, sure, yeah. Like, give us a fix, and we implemented and things got fixed. Oh. And it was fun. Like, I spent around 200 hours during 4 months of my time on it. That was next to my normal regular job, so it was like 40 hours a week, working on it for a client, around 15, 20 hours a week, traveling and doing another 15, 20 hours working on WordPress. And it was quite a lot of fun. Like every Wednesday evening, we went to the dev chat. After the dev chat, me and Mike were like talking for like an hour or two about the stuff we work on, but also like just personal stuff, family, having fun, and it was always late hours. I worked sometimes we chatted till like 1 a.m. But it was a lot of fun doing this because, well, we were working on something that was basically, we never worked on, and it was like a learning curve and a lot of like, what the fuck moments, because yeah, you try to push yourself forward. And in the end, I only got 29 props commits done, less than 3-4, but way more code implemented because, well, we worked on GitHub for the image manipulation stuff because it works. It works really well if you want to change WordPress APIs and you want to be backwards compatible and you don't want to have like submitting patches all the way. Like for example, if you ever look at the ticket for custom post statuses, then you see there are like 30, 40 patches, but I think there's also around 150 comments on it. Like that ticket, basically need to delete it and we need to start from scratch because you lost focus. You couldn't like have like simple tasks where you can discuss things on. So basically that has to be redone and someone needs to spend a lot of time to look at every patch to not hurt someone's feeling because, well, they worked on something really good and suddenly like, well, that code is gone. So it isn't that much of amount of commits or props basically I have, but it's still really valuable work. And from there things went, well, a little bit down the hill. Like it's all about, from this point of view, how to look at it, is about expectations. So during 3.5, there was a change made, and I completely disagree with it. Like, they changed something overnight, and because I was sick, I couldn't see the first patch done at 1 a.m., and they committed already at 8 a.m. in the morning. Because, well, you have to deal with time zones, so most of the stuff in WordPress still happens in the United States. And till this day, we are still mixed about it. Like, I spent 200 hours on my own time on it. That's, if you work for a client, that's quite a lot of money, but that's not something I care about. Like I spend time, I want to have some kind of recognition of that. Not like a little name somewhere where basically one guy with the same patch, but that at least from a person saying like, well done, and I'm like, oh yeah, thanks. Like, and we go away. And that's all about expectation. Like that's my expectation because I set the border really high. Like I spend a lot of time, and I expect something back. If I would have done it that way, maybe I would have spent, instead of 200, maybe only 10 or 20. I would not maybe delete a feature in WordPress. So it's something, if you deal with open source, really know what kind of expectations you want to have and what expectation you will get. And from there, like the issues I have in the last couple of years, is probably would have been much less to deal with. From there, I didn't do that much more stuff. Like still in 3.6, I still got 11 things done. Also some patches in 3.5.1 because obviously when you rebuild everything in WordPress from a certain API, you break stuff. We only break one little thing because if you edit an image in WordPress, we never really tested it because, yeah, we tested it a few times and, well, we thought it worked. and it was not really a use case that we spent most of the time on. We had already a lot of work to do on like different versions of ImageMagick, different versions of Imagick, and compile everything. That's why we probably spent 50, maybe even 100 hours on, like just testing out if we could break something. And from there, it was like just continually going on, like you see like 2, 7, 1, but still every release I had a little fix getting done. In total, I had 104 props. What is quite amazing in the time of 6 years, like you only start with one, but in 2010, but I think I started then in 2011, 2012 back again. So I also had like a gap, and most people don't have this, so I'm still happy with this. It's still something that I value a lot. It's something that I'm proud of. And since then, after 3.5, I spent more time on GlotPress. And GlotPress is something I switched after WordPress 3.5 because I had issues and I wanted something like smaller, with less people, and I can just do my thing. And I ended up looking at GlotPress and I was like, well, I can help out here. I can do something good about it, like do something about, well, the localization on translated.wordpress.org and making things better for the wider community that is sometimes not as much appreciated as they should. And I ended up leading the project for more than 2 years. I had 233 commits done for around the 1,000 or something we had, I think 1,100 maybe. So it's still like 20–25% was still something I did. And well, with disagreements about where we're going to head to, like I still think GlotPress makes the most sense as a standalone project, maybe even based on Laravel. And they want to go to WordPress plugin way. Like I think more not only into WordPress but also outside. Like why wouldn't Joomla or Drupal use GlotPress? For me, that would be amazing because that shows collaboration between different projects. But in the end, because of the work I did, we had around more than 20 contributors working on GlotPress. People that had submitted patches for years. Like, for example, Jeff Thompson also worked on patches, like I think it was like 3 years later, I committed some of the changes he made. So, suddenly, if you're frustrated with a project that, well, you submit something and nothing happened, but after 3 years it still happened, it still gives you certain, you're still happy with that. Like, it's not like, it was not that project anymore. And you can see it now, more people also now use again with the GlotPress plugin for WordPress. And it's good things I started then, and you now see where we're going to head. Like now you can translate plugins and themes to GlotPress. And it's maybe that little stone that I throw away and I start working on it, even though I hadn't the knowledge about how GlotPress is built, because it's a little bit more advanced than WordPress. But at least now more people are looking into it because I made it not a dev project anymore. That said, I do work on my own open source solution now, so I will use Laravel, I will use some new technology like React.js to make something to translate, like an online translation tool in a better way that people can use around us. Like that. Firstly, I would probably focus on the Joomla community because I know people there, and from there start on and hope that it also makes, that it adds more value and maybe some kind of competition with WordPress and GlotPress, like to also make GlotPress better. Around probably now more. 66 events, probably now around 70.
Sorry for bothering.
Oh, no problem.
Just do your work.
Voila. And I did around 37 presentations during that time, like with highlights, especially with my point of view, like the presentation I did in WordCamp Europe, because I was standing on stage together with Mike Schroeder, talking about the stuff we worked hundreds of hours on. And for what I hear, it was one of the better presentations during that WordCamp because, well, you could see we had a friendship. We made a friendship through WordPress. We made something that we both never thought we would ever do. And it was a really cool, like, ending of a project to stand on stage, talk about the stuff we did together. Yeah, obviously I'm one of the organizers of this great WordCamp, and also am an organizer of I started organizing meetups in Amsterdam and also started basically the meetup here in Belgrade. And then I was like, well, please Milan, you can take it over now because you have all the time, you can make it better, and well, with all the meetups here, we all have 200 plus people, so that's pretty cool to see, right? Well, this like
showing off how cool the community can be. Here I'm together with me, with Bjorn, that was speaking last year, and with Jimmy. And it was at WordCamp Norway, like having fun at the after party, drinking a beer, and enjoying ourselves. The same before WordCamp US, I was sitting there with Mario, and with, I don't want to say the name incorrectly. Let me check. With Kiko Doran. And there was someone I never met before, and we were sitting there, well, enjoying ourselves. And like, I never met the guy, and we have a pretty cool connection, and well, we sometimes still talk on Twitter, like, only saw each other once, and still, we had a lot of fun that evening. Now I start working at Ples, so first part of the reason I started working for 101, one of the bigger hosting companies in Europe. And that was a pretty cool experience. It was still focused on shared hosting. It was still focused on only one hosting company. And I want to do more. That was one of the reasons I started working for 101 was the community. Like, 101 doesn't have the best name out of there, and I want to do something better. And when I left 101 last year after work in Belgrade, I got this year offer to work for Plesk. So Plesk is a control panel people can use on their VPS, dedicated machine, to control everything themselves. And for me, that's like, especially as a developer, a really cool thing to do, because now this year we will have a release in October doing better Git integration, so you can run your projects on GitHub, your private GitLab server, and you can just say, all right, this is my repo. You get a key back as a deploy key. You can submit it on your Git repo, and every time you publish on master, your code will be live on the website. And instead of using the Git server on the hosting side, you have full control where you want to have it. Like, for me, that's really awesome. That's the tools developer want. And one of the other tools is having Docker support. Sure, you need to have Plesk most likely on your own VPS because, well, Docker need resource, for example, using Memcache, Redis, Elasticsearch, but you have now all the power in one control panel, and you don't need you don't need to be an IT ops expert. You can just do what you're good in, building websites. And that's something really cool for me to be part of, because I can work on something to give people the right tools to build really cool WordPress websites. And the conclusion is, it has been great. Like, there was a picture from my time at WordCamp Tokyo 2 years ago. We went to the karaoke bar for like 6 hours straight. Like, I would never expected to do that. But with those people, it was so much fun. I made friends. Like, Mike Schroeder is one of the better friends I have now. We have a lot of fun when we see each other. Like, we hang out, and like, I have been negative. Some people will say I was poisonous, but I'm not. Like, I'm critical. Yeah, sure, we should be critical against what we do. We want to make something better. But in the end, what is important? To make friends. And yes, I made mistakes. Like, I know I did things that I should not do, or should not have done. But that's life, right? You make mistakes, and in the end, you also learn from it. Because, well, once you stop learning, you start dying, right? And to be honest, I would not have changed it. Like, sure, I made my mistakes, but it's still something I'm passionate about. It's still who I am. And that's why I like this picture of, like, in the end, people will judge you anyway. Don't live your life impressing others. Just live your life impressing yourself. Like, do the things you like. And if you piss off people, well, most likely you make other friends again. So it's like, yeah, you piss off one person, but someone else probably likes you doing that. Maybe a little bit cruel, but in the end, we're here to make fun. We like today, enjoy ourselves and start learning and do the things we in the end like and we are passionate about. I'm Marko Heijnen. If you want to talk about stuff, you can email me at info@markoheijnen.com or just on Twitter. Thank you for listening. Any questions, if you dare to? Yes? Do we have a mic, or this mic, or this one, or?
Use this for the moment.
Yeah, sure. Oh yeah, that too, yeah. The camera.
So, you mentioned that you had an idea on making the plugins unique for different CMS systems, open source CMSs. Am I got that right?
I did not mention that, but what I've mentioned probably was to have like one translation tool for multiple CMSs, yeah.
Okay. Combining different CMS systems under a similar engine. Something like that.
it's an extent and basically a software outside. Like basically, did you ever use? I forgot the name. Like PO edit or like basically it's a tool where you can just give your English strings and you can translate it to Serbian. And that's something outside the CMS. It's just something, the tool only needs to know how the translation files are used on your CMS, yes. So basically for WordPress it will be PO and MO files.
So what was the end result from other communities, like making something unique? Did you have like positive feedback from people?
I was 2 weeks ago at the J and Beyond, so that's one of the bigger conferences for Joomla. I know people there, and our office from Plesk is also one in Barcelona, so it was like the right moment to go. And it's something they really want to. Like the problem was they used online tools, and their translation is done in PHP files, and that tool didn't have that right export. So if they have something in control, you see how good WordPress is with translations. They have everything in their own control. They can do language packs because of that, because you can hook and change whatever you want. And that's something they also want to. They are like pushing the next Joomla version, like Joomla X is what they call for 4.0 basically. And they want to build, redo everything, but they like do it separately from the current release. And in the end, they will merge back together. And they want to change, especially on the language side, a lot. So they're really eager to work, but I don't have anything yet. So you also need to show something to see if you can work together. But I don't see any problem there. Like the Joomla, for me, like I have a really good experience at the Joomla days there. There was like a little bit less serious, like they just have their fun, they talk, and in the end, like the ending of the conference, there was a guy singing on stage about how cool the Joomla community is. Like to me, when I saw that, well, I want to say jealous, but I was proud of their community that they, even though there are like a lot of internal fights, they still can enjoy themselves when they are together. So to answer your question, I think people want something in their own control and not an external service. Like that's also why we have open source. Own the data you provide.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Go.